Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week 2, Change Your Mind, Change Your Life course. Great to see you all here, and hopefully you had a great week meditating on our topic last week, which was the 3 foundations of meditation, right? We were working with mindfulness of the breath, mindfulness of the body, and mindfulness of the mind, which we will continue to do. That's the common thread throughout all of these weeks. So we're always going to be using that principle in our meditations going forward. So this week, we're working with visualizations. And you might already understand visualizations. You might have been using them in the past without even knowing it's meditation. Now, that said, being seated on a mat and doing your meditation, doing visualization meditation is different than, say, the athlete, like I described in the email today. That's a little bit different principles here. But what happens when you start working with visualization meditation is that then you start using that, you start employing those methods through every action in your life, and it becomes incredibly powerful, like so powerful that it's kind of the basis upon which Dr. Joe Dispenza's work has been so successful. If you're not familiar with him, he's a chiropractor who actually healed himself from paralysis. He was a triathlete, and he had a severe accident where he was paralyzed from like C7 down, and he healed himself through visualization meditations. Now he heals thousands upon thousands of people around the world through his work in the meditation realm, and to the point where literally his work has induced spontaneous remissions for folks with cancer. My good friend Michelle, who is a yoga therapist in California, is a trainer for him. So she's taken the Neurochange Solutions training with him, and she shared with me being on retreat with him at one point where it was a week-long retreat. Somebody came in a wheelchair, had been in a wheelchair for over 15 years, and they left that retreat 1 week. They walked out of their wheelchair, which is really amazing. So that just tells you how powerful visualizations can be. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here, hopefully successfully today. Might need my glasses here. Oh, I gotta just cut the vanity. Let's just put the glasses on here and see. No, I got the whiteboard again. That must be something Zoom related. Okay, I've got the week 1. Let me just, this is why, because I don't have it open here yet. Okay. So some of you hopefully are reflecting as I'm trying to get this screen share going. You're reflecting on experiences that you've had with visualizations. Take a moment and think about that. Have you ever had an opportunity in your life to visualize what you want, visualize where you are, visualize where you want to be, something along those lines, and visualizing and being in that place that you aren't currently, and that might mean being in a job that you absolutely love. That might mean, the transition from living in the United States to living in Costa Rica. Having those visualizations can be very powerful and help you along that path, help you be successful toward that end. And that again is why visualizations are so powerful in athletics. That's what a lot of folks are trained to do, that kind of work. And in fact, one of my good friends, Shaila Mirgain, you guys might know her. She's in Madison. She works for the Center for Healthy Minds. She works specifically with athletes using these methods. So week 2 visualizations. Hopefully everybody can see this. I'm going to see if I can blow it up a little bit more. So we're going to be working with 2, actually 3. So there are 2 that for those people who really love landscapes, these 2 can be very powerful, but I'm also going to employ a 3rd today, which is the most common. It's commonly used in the Tibetan practices and just in general, meditation in general. And it involves awareness. Okay, so and last week we didn't talk about this, but wanted to let you have a week of experience on your own in the meditations to get a sense of the blue sky. I think I did mention that, when thoughts come into our mind, we recognize them. Oftentimes in meditation, when we're new to meditation, and even when we're not new to it, we grasp to those thoughts. We grasp to them, we judge them, we try to force them out, and then forcing them out, other thoughts come in, other negative thoughts, right, which are worse than the first thought, right? And so one of the visualizations that I use quite a lot, and again, it's used a lot in the Tibetan practices, is this big sky meditation, visualization meditation. And that is the sky. Like right now, I'm looking out at the sky and it's totally gray. Breeze around me, it's totally gray, which is kind of unusual, by the way, for Costa Rica, in the morning in particular. This is indicative of the afternoon in rainy season, but usually we get sun in the morning. But I didn't know, I think that this is the world. If I were just born right now and I looked outside, I would think, okay, that's a gray sky. I don't know there's anything different than that, right? But behind those clouds, we all know there's a blue sky. And that blue sky is never changing. It's ever present. It's infinite. It's spacious. And it is who we are. It is our consciousness. It is what is termed pure awareness. So in the last course, the last 8-week course, I really focused a lot on this term awareness. So, and I look at it like awareness with a little a. So there's awareness with a little a, and there's awareness with a capital A. Awareness with a little a, we all know as, I'm aware that the workers are here on the property and I hear banging and clanging, and I'm aware that, oh, the horses just escaped and they're wandering up, which did happen this week. Oh, they're wandering up the path and eating all the bananas. That's awareness, right? That's awareness that involves the external environment primarily, right? But the capital A primarily involves the internal landscape, the internal environment, which is inherent in all of us. And that is, we all have it, but accessing it becomes incredibly challenging, right? And these practices are intended to help you to do that. So going back to the blue sky analogy, today it's totally gray here. I don't see any break in the clouds. Sometimes I can even look off to the distance and see some breaks and see a little bit of blue sky, but that's not the case today. Other days there might be big billowy clouds, some white thunderheads, right, against the deep, deep blue sky. I see that a lot here. I think, if I'm not wrong, in Wisconsin at this time, I remember in June, July, the sky was brilliantly blue with whenever the clouds would come in, the thunderheads would come in, it was just beautiful. If you still had some blue sky, just beautiful. So at some other times, other days, you might just see wispy clouds that you can actually see through, and you got the blue sky, but also the clouds, right? So there are those days. And then there are those days that you have really heavy, dark clouds filled with rain, very stormy. But we know, no matter what the clouds are, behind them, always, in infinite, in infinity is the blue sky. It's infinite. It's absolutely without time, and it's without space. And so that is what resides within us. We come from that, we go back to it. But right now, while we're in this consciousness, the best gift we can give ourselves is to access that. And that is really what meditation is all about. And this might seem, if it's new to you, these concepts are new, please don't get too overwhelmed with them. I know it can be sort of woo-woo. Everybody's using that word now. I think you can probably Wikipedia it. Woo-woo. What's woo-woo? These strange metaphysical terms that people, non-scientists come up with. And by the way, I'm a scientist, so I live in both worlds. And so looking at what I have here in your ebook, something that might be a little more tangible for you to grasp are the mountain and lake meditation. So I've used these for you for this coming week. That hopefully you can relate to these, especially if you are an earth kind of person, right? If you're earth, if you are water, these visualizations are powerful. So it's by the same token as the eye, look down, we visualize a mountain, and I'm a mountain person, obviously. This is the reason I chose where I am, Costa Rica, are the mountains. So if you imagine a mountain, in its nature, it's in its natural state, it's never changing, right? No matter the weather patterns. It can have snow. Sometimes we look out and there's snow on the top of the mountain or covering the whole mountain. And other times in the spring and in the summer, it's green. In the fall, you might have all of those beautiful colors, the reds, the oranges, but the mountain is still the mountain. It's still of its pure, in its pure nature, it does not change, no matter the weather patterns that hit the mountain. Similarly, with a lake, if you're a water person, you might relate to this. With a lake, if you visualize your most favorite lake, and I know mine was Lake Tahoe, growing up near Lake Tahoe. I always have this visualization, so I kind of get both. I get the mountains and I get the lake in my visualization meditations. But oftentimes a lake will be on a calm day, clear, that whole landscape exits on the lake, right? We've all probably seen. Other times the storms come in and there are waves, and it's other times the water is murky. After heavy rain, possibly the water is brown and murky. Sometimes we can see to the bottom, sometimes we can't. But the true nature of the lake is always present. It's ever present, and it's infinite, and it doesn't matter the weather patterns, right? Now, these are visualizations that are difficult to talk about right now because we do have something called climate change. So people might make the argument, well, wait a second, Laura, that mountain that was once there was an earthquake and that mountain just kind of fell off into the sea. But, that's kind of why I like the blue sky a little bit better. The blue sky metaphor is sometimes a little more relevant. But just kind of it gives you these metaphors are meant to be not to overanalyze, because we can get into analysis paralysis, but whatever resonates with you when you are in your meditation, this is what you should be using. So a thought comes in, you don't judge it, you don't grasp it, you don't fight it with another thought, you recognize it, but it's the space between the thoughts that we want to linger in the most. I'm going to say that again. It's the space or the gap between the thoughts that we want to try to linger in the most. That's the most powerful state of the mind. That's the most calm state of the mind. And it just so happens that it corresponds to the held breath in between the inhale and the exhale. So in Sanskrit, and we're going to dive into a little bit about the subtle body in a moment. In Sanskrit, they give these terms to the 3 phases of the breath. Really, there are 4 phases of the breath. There's an inhale, there's a pause at the top of the inhale, there's an exhale, there's a pause at the end of the exhale. So those 4 stages of breath. And they are termed, the inhale is termed piraka in Sanskrit. The held breath at the top of the inhale is kumbhaka, and the exhale is rechaka. And then the held breath again is kumbhaka. So we have piraka, kumbhaka, rechaka. I used to love to teach this to kids. I'd make them repeat it, and they love it to hear kids in a group. Piraka, kumbhaka. It's a lot of fun to work with these techniques. And I'll share with you some of the effects of kids, because they are so unadulterated. Their minds are not contaminated. And my internet is a little unstable, so hopefully if I'm cutting out a little bit, okay, that's gone. They gave a notification that the internet was a little unstable. So kids being of pure nature, I can use these, incredible pranayams with them without worries. They're not on medications, they don't, generally speaking, they don't have glaucoma, or they're not pregnant. There are certain contraindications where you wouldn't use this breath work. And so one of them, the one that we're going to do today, is Nadi Shodhana. And when I use it with kids and I get the response from them every single time, I ask them how they feel after we do this breath, and they all say the same thing: I feel tired. Which in a child's mind, and if you're a parent of a child, you probably know this, the I feel tired is like, hallelujah, because they often have too much energy, right? Hallelujah, I feel so tired actually means calm. In their mind, they probably don't have a sense of, I feel calm, I feel focused. They have a harder time, defining it as that, but it's true. So you're going to be experiencing that yourselves this week with the breathwork that we do. So getting back to the book, your e-peers, book either PDF or using the link in the email. These, if you want to take deeper dives into any of the content here, you can click on the link. So if I click here, I'm going to automatically get bounced over to a little more reading if you're up for it. So these are the and other CYMCYLs. You know, learn as from as many resources as you can. It's the intention of having resources right here, easy for you to dive into, but you don't have to. You don't have to. You can just stay on the surface in this class and just read what is pertinent in the moment. So the mood that we're going to work with this is CYMCYL. If you remember last week, we talked about the 5 elements, represent them all. The thumb is fire, index finger is air, the middle finger is ether or space, the ring finger is the earth, and the water. So what we're doing is we're dropping the first finger down into the palm, wrapping the thumb around it, okay? And this relates to, on the physical end, this helps with anything, any of the air imbalances that we might have in the body. So when air is the element that's out of balance in our body, we want to use this mudra. And this next week's mudra is going to be one that I hope you not only learn, but you much today. If you have air imbalances, that means anything from feeling gaseous to also having a attack. This you carry feeling bloated, having gas. This is a very, very beneficial mudra for you to do. So that's the mudra that we'll be working with throughout the course of this week, every day in your meditation, first thing in the morning, right? Hint, hint. Check your emails, and the news on, you got rid of your TV. So now we're going to dive into the pranayama for week 2, which, as I mentioned, is alternate. I could put my glasses on. Hopefully you guys can see this. So alternate is it's balance and also called nostril dominance. So we tend to be more dominant in one nostril than the other. Kind of, I taught this course live. Addison, go home. You can do if you're up for it. If you take a mirror, like a handheld mirror, and place it under your nose and inhale deeply through the nose, exhale, kind of use your Visamariti. Oh, bird just hit the window. And he's laying on my chair. Sorry, guys. That's always really hard to see. And oh, it's a hummingbird. No, it's not. It's a finch. Sorry. It's a finch. I thought it was a hummingbird. Oh my goodness. He's getting up. He's just dazed. Sorry for the interruption there. He's going to be hopefully going into the blue sky soon. Oof. Okay, I can't look. Nothing I can do in the moment. If he's there when the class is over, I will take care of him. So alternate nostril, shifting the nostril dominance. So place a mirror under your nose, use Visamariti, inhale, exhale twice as long as your inhale onto that mirror so that you leave your breath on your mirror. Whichever circle is bigger, that's your dominant nostril. So if you find the condensation on the mirror is bigger on the right, then you are right nostril dominant, and vice versa. Your left nostril is going to be a bigger circle. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. And then when you use this pranayama for 2 to 3 minutes and check again, hopefully you see a little more symmetrical circles. Kind of a fun little practice to do. Now, incidentally, our nostril dominance changes every 90 minutes, believe it or not. But overall, we tend to be more dominant breathers through one nostril versus the other. Okay. Now, this is deep, deep stuff right here, but I'm going to stay on the surface with it. But it relates to alternate nostril breath. So we have in the subtle body, and some of you already know this, so just come from beginner's mind. It's always good to, for me anyway, it's always good to hear it again and recognize that we have bodies and that we should be tapping them as much as we can in our meditation. So there are these 7 chakras, and chakra, the term chakra means energy wheel. There are 7 major, many more than this. But if you want to dive into that, of course, your leisure, but 7 is quite enough to work with. The 7 that are major, and they stem from the base of the spine and they run all the way up to the crown of the head. And this is really fascinating. And my internet is unstable, so I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, just in case the audio was cutting out there. So the base of the spine is where these energies begin. And as I said, they end at the crown. And we have nadis, these nadis, they're termed nadis. The term nadi literally means little rivers. So we have thousands upon thousands. In some reports of the literature, there are over 72,000 of these nadis, or these energy channels, that stem from the spine. Now, these are not things in the physical body, so they can't be measured by an MRI. They can't be measured by a CT scan. So this is why people kind of over the decades and years have kind of looked at this as woo-woo science. It's not real, right? But if you study deep enough and you feel and have experiences with these nadis, then you just forget about science, because they just haven't caught up yet. And they are, by the way, they are. There are some tools that are coming out to start measuring things in the field. And so there are 3 main nadis. Out of those 72,000, we really draw our attention to 3 main, and they are Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Now, Ida and Pingala, for me, they were pretty easy to remember, because I kind of think of Ida as a woman and Pingala as a man. And that's precisely what the energies are. So Ida is female energy, Pingala is male energy. So we have both male and female energies within us. Phenotypically, based on our genes, we're either male or female, generally speaking. We're born either as a male or a female, but we do have both of these energies within us. And they start at the base of the spine, as I mentioned. So I love this image, and I kind of over the top of this that you see behind this, how the energy starts, and the female begins on the left side of the spine and travels up in sine wave fashion. It's represented here by kind of this blue, cooler color, because female is thinner or cooler energy. And so it ends at the left nostril. You can see it starts here at the left base of the spine. It does kind of a sine wave, makes its way all the way up here, ends at your left and the left. So speaking, the left side of your body is more lunar, more cooling, and female in nature. And the right side of the body is the opposite. It's more solar, there's more heat, and it's more of male energy, and that is the Pingala. So represented here in red, it travels up the spine in an opposing wave to the female energy, and it ends at the right nostril. Now, these means these intersect, and that's just why I've put together the chart the nodes are. So we've got at the base of the spine, we have Muladhara, the combination of the 2 energies here. And then where the first node is the second chakra, this is known as Svadhisthana. And where the third area where they cross, this is your sister. Anahat, sort of, you can almost even look at it as the physical body. You can see in the picture, it kind of divides the body in half, right? We've got the lower, and we've got the dividing line, lower and upper. And this is an area, the Anahata chakra, where we draw a lot of attention. We're trying to drop down into heart space a lot in our meditation. There are said to be 108, then one is just the throat chakra, and this relates to anything communication related. And then we have Ajna chakra very well.
understand, but it's still.
we talk a little bit, we're all trying to work to open our third eye, right? Because once you do that, once you start working with these higher channels, that is when we finally realize nirvana and be tap this seventh and probably most significant, depending on your perspective, chakra, and that's Sahasrara chakra. Sahasrara is the point. Once that's activated, we really understand our connect every sentient being on and really significant challenge, right? So, as I mentioned, the heart chakra is sort of the center and divides the physical body, the subtle body, I should say. It divides the subtle body, not the physical, but the subtle body into two areas, the lower and the upper. The lower chakras are where we tend to focus our energy. If we evolved we've ever been in terms of the chakras is when we're first born, before we could even speak. Our chakras are probably at their greatest balance at that point, which is why some people are intuits from birth on, because they've never closed off those upper channels. They've always been able to keep them open. So, the way Sushumna, it's not depicted here, but there's a central or main channel that runs right up intersection of the Pingala nadis or channels. And so what we're trying to do is awaken the energy, which is known as Kundalini in Hatha Yoga tradition. We kind of picture at the spine Kundalini. You guys might have heard of this. Kundalini is often seen here as a serpent lying dormant at the base of the spine. We start doing these practices, in particular, when we start working with prana, we awaken that serpent, and is to start traveling up Sushumna, up this central channel. And when it does so, it pierces each of these chakras. It activates them, and that one, and next. The more you work with energy, continue to penetrate each of these chakras with that kind of visualization of the snake coming up that central channel. Now, each of these chakras, as I said, energy, what the term is, they rotate in direction. So at the base of the spine, we have and this also relates to the energies. We have the most male energy, which is Muladhara. Muladhara is, and that relates to your security. So having shelter, having food, having enough money and abundance to live your life. You feel as if you don't have enough money, you don't have enough food, you feel insecure about those things. That's when Muladhara is out of balance. And so that's when we want to start sending our energy there, try to bring that into balance. Now, wheels has a certain patient. This one's rotating guys, that could be more. And picture this as a gear. So if this is a gear and it's turning clockwise, what do you suppose is going to happen with the second chakra? I'm doing it with my rotating counterclockwise. As well as the inertia and the energy going clockwise, this one then goes counterclockwise. And this second chakra is Svadhisthana, and this is represented, it's between the base of your spine and navel, it's in your low belly, and it's representative of the sexual energy, it's representative of action. So things in the body are out of balance. Svadhisthana, we might see things like infertility, any kind of issue, reproductive organs have to do with imbalance of this second chakra. And so then that's rotating counterclockwise female, and that gear is turning the next gear up. Manupara. This one's male energy rotating clockwise. Manupara is your ego center. It has to do with your purpose and has to do with your path, right? We are on our path. We figured it out. We have purpose. No, that's not to say that maintains itself, right? These chakras go in and out of balance all the time, which is why knowing about them and using the breath work to bring them into balance becomes extremely powerful. So this one, male energy, rotating clockwise, and brings the energy up to the heart, which then rotates counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. Our chakra, all about love, all about relationships, all about family, right? So when this is out of balance, we see imbalance in those areas of our life. So rotating counterclockwise, this one, and to the chakra, what you do is rotating clockwise, and this has to do with your communication. And this is how you express yourself, how you listen, folks. So it's the of communication that you're doing, not even just with humans, but with animals, right? This is expression in its greatest form here, coming from Vishuddha. And that road clockwise initiates counterclock action, Ajna chakra, which is the third eye between the brows. Ajna chakra is your center of intuition. So when people really have intuition, their intuition is strong. It doesn't mean their third eye is necessarily open, but they've certainly activated this sixth chakra again in the ajna. So it's people who do intuitive readings, folks who do animal communication. They, generally speaking, have been able to keep these on in the external world, right? And if we don't know, and most of us don't practices in life, then we don't have that sort of supernatural ability. We all, guess what? We all have supernatural ability. We just haven't been able to use it. And as I said, the greatest balance we've had in these chakras was before we could even speak, before language came in, right? Which I think is just fascinating. But the beautiful thing is it's not too late. We're still upright and breathing on this side of the dirt. So we can be using these practices to help us to tap these upper chakras. These three are the hardest to start activating. We tend to spend, especially as we age, our energy into these last lower, more and more. I notice that when people, as they age, as the disease starts coming to play for them, they start realizing their mortality, they start gathering more material things. They put more focus on the material world, which is sending the energy the opposite direction, sending it back down into Muladhara, right? So we want, at least in these practices, the goal is to do the opposite and start to bring more of that energy into these upper three chakras. Again, the dividing one being the heart. So the last and the seventh and most profound is Sahasrara. And Sahasrara is up the base of the crown and helps us to connect with the cosmos. It helps us to realize nirvana, basically. And it's said that upon passing, upon our death, even if we haven't activated all of these chakras, and these are some of the beliefs, and so whether you subscribe to this or not does not matter. But upon our death, that snake comes up, Kundalini comes up, and we are automatically, I have this visualization of being just rocketed into the cosmos and becoming part of it, becoming part of everything that is and ever was and ever will be infinity. We become omnipresent. So, and that is, by the way, that is not to conflict with anyone's religion. If you have religion, this is the beautiful thing about these practices and about yoga and Buddhism in general. All that, and there's no judgments on any of that. And so, so you just take this for whatever it is and whatever it means for you, and you can overlay it with whatever your practices are, whatever you subscribe to. And that's, again, one of the things that we just love about yoga, meditation, these particular esoteric practices. So any questions about that so far? I'm going to unplug for a second. It's just the surface, but hopefully then we get to a practice. The course, we'll explore a little bit more, and of course, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Hopefully you all know how to get in touch with me at this point. I'm going to go ahead and plug back in, and we're going to do, it's going to take a second for this to read. And this is all in your ebook, so you can all read. So there's no point in me reading through all of this for you, so you can read that at your leisure. I'll also send you the PDF of the ebook, but we are going to be practicing the, oops, that's getting into week, look at that. That's a preview of week 3. I'm trying to just give you week 1 at a time here. So let's work with, I'm stop my share the for so that you can hopefully see me. I'm not sure. It's always different on different computers. I'm usually pad, so bear with me on how to pin my video. Let's see. It's changed times on since I've used my computer, so it's okay. Can everybody see me on the big on their device? And since you're all muted, it won't be the case that somebody bounces on here. Give me.
No.
Okay, that's simple.
We can't see you. Can you hear us, Laura?
I can hear you. You can't see me at all?
No, you can't. Your picture isn't there. Your voice is there, but your picture is not there. There you go. Now I can see you.
Did it just go? Okay, great. I might have been because of the settings. You could hopefully have seen me before. Well, you were, so it didn't matter, but now it is important that you see, because I'm going to, we're going to work into the physical practice of this pranayama. Again, it's Nadi Shodhana. Hopefully you are all in a seated meditation posture. That is important as well. We do the pranayama, and that's going to lead us right into a short guided meditation using the visualizations. So we're going to use the right hand in a mudra, and this is called Vishnu mudra. And Vishnu mudra is to drop the first 2 fingers into the palm, extend the last 2 and the thumb. Hopefully you are using the right hand, and we're going to use the right thumb to close the right nostril. Now make sure you're not closing it down here. You're going to close it very, very high up here where you feel the nasal bone. You can kind of feel there's soft tissue, and then right up a little higher is this hard bony structure. That's where you want to close. So you're closing off way up here so that you have the ability to fully close that nostril. So we close. A little hard to do with a microphone. You go to the right with thumb. We have index, and maybe the pinky need to use both. We use the left to close the left nostril, and again up very high. Can't think.
Yeah, Laura, you're frozen, and then also we're only hearing like every other word, and so it's hard if we can't see you or hear what you're saying.
Useless. That's does this help? Did I come back on?
You're still frozen. You moved, but now you're frozen again. Now you're moving.
Okay.
I think it's your internet connection.
Yeah, I think it is, and I might. Okay, let's see. Are you still? Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. Run with it because of closeness to us, which we're at right now. If it's okay, we'll see over a little bit just to do this practice. And if you need to leave, absolutely fine. This is recorded, and watch the recorder. And plugging back in that. Sometimes I've had that happen when I'm using my headset, so hopefully we'll get through smooth. I might have to reinitiate the Zoom call. Okay, not a problem at all, Marina. Thank you so much. So posture, describing, we take this mudra called Vishnu. The fingers extend the first to the palm. The thumb is extended, and we're going to use the thumb to close the right nostril. Close it all the way up here near the nasal. Same on the left. Close it up very high, not down here. Okay. Don't use these fingers. Sometimes you'll see people doing alternate nostril this way. When I was in India, my teachers were like, we don't understand why you guys do that in the West. Why would you want to plug up your third eye? Don't close your third eye with your fingers. So that's why they place these two fingers. And so we're going to close. So let's try to work this together. And once you have it, won't matter if my video goes off. Hopefully my audio stays on. So you're going to close your right nostril. Now check your 7-point posture. Knees are lower than the hips. The spine is nice and upright. Arms hang like hooks. Shoulders drop down like a yoke. Chin tucks in, drops slightly. Tongue to the back of the teeth, soften away your mouth. Eyes slightly forward 2 feet on your gaze. So you can close. If you need to, for now, you can keep them open. So inhale very deeply just through your left nostril. Your right is closed. So this is your Piraka. Hold the breath briefly while you close the left nostril very near the nasal bone. Open the right and exhale very steady. Let it be slow and steady and smooth. If you can do so, you're still be some of Riti from last week. Exhale twice as long as your inhale. At the bottom of that exhale, inhale through the right. Baraka. Hold the breath, Kumbhaka. Close the right. Open the left. Exhale, Baraka through the left. Inhale to the left. Close the left. Open the right. Exhale slowly. So continue to work with this, using the rhythm of your own breath. And now you can close the eyes if you have not already. Yeah, and really focus on slow, steady, smooth breath. It's sort of inherent in this particular pranayama. This breath does become naturally slow and steady. And you want to recognize that and really accentuate it. Now at the bottom of your next exhale, as you exhale through the left nostril, you can just allow the breath to become natural. Your right eyes closed. And we'll begin a short meditation on visualization. So today's practice is all about experiencing the open spaciousness awareness with a capital A that is our true nature. It's the nature itself. So allow your awareness, and that is the little a, allow your awareness to settle on the breath. Breathing slowly, patiently, and evenly in and out through the nose. Now you're not even trying to fabricate the breath, you're settle on a breath that's quiet, comfortable, and easy. As you sit here watching and noticing the breath, notice how also the mind is always at play. Thoughts come and they go, perhaps emotions. As thoughts arise, if we can, just let them be. If we leave our thoughts alone, they will simply dissolve. They simply fade away. After one thought has departed, another thought may take its place. Or perhaps there's just space. A pause before the next thought comes rushing in. Recognize this space between the thoughts. We call this the gap between thoughts. In these moments when it's just you sitting here watching the breath, there's nothing else to do. Right now, there's nothing else to do. Simply watch the breath. As you sit here present with the breath, there is still movement in the mind. This movement is the movement of thoughts. Thoughts abiding for a while, and thoughts departing. This is the job of a thought. It's what they do. Your job is to simply watch. It is what you do. There's time when you recognize a thought or recognize that you're thinking. Watch that thought as if you're watching it from a distance. Notice that there's a part of you that is thinking, but there's also a part of you that is watching, witnessing the thought. There is a separation between your thoughts and you, the thinker. And further back behind all of that, there's you that is awareness, capital A itself. Thoughts, appearances of your mind are like clouds in the sky. They're moving, changing, coming and going. They take shape, they last for a while, then they dissipate like a cloud dissolving into thin air. Some thoughts are light and wispy, others are heavy, creating storms and causing rain. But each of these clouds, every thought, every emotion, all of this activity of the mind is just a dance of energy across the sky. And this energy is the dynamic display of mind itself. The sky, the foundation, is the greatest awareness with a capital A from which these clouds arise and play. Because the sky, though, is disturbed by the clouds through all the storms, all the weather. It is there, present, stable, and clear. Our thoughts, like the clouds, are simply temporary arisings within the sky-like expanse of the mind itself. When you notice activity, weather, thoughts, or emotions, when you're experiencing clouds, turn inward, turn home towards the sky. What is the true nature of the sky? primordially pure since the beginningless time. The space between the phenomena, the spontaneous display of clouds is free to play. Clouds arise, clouds abide. Your true nature is none other than this sky-like mind. You begin to identify with this clear, luminous experience, vast, spacious, without limits or extremes. Experience the ease, the peacefulness, the joy. This is the true nature of the sky-like mind. Remember that this is truly who you are. It's the nature of mind itself. You are not the clouds. You are not the weather. You're not the storms or the rain. You are the witness, the container of it all. You are none other than the spacious awareness itself. Remember what you are: at peace, at ease, vast, open, and free. Keep turning past the weather. Remain curious about the nature of the sky, the nature of mind itself, your own true nature. And begin, draw this meditation to a close. Know that this experience of the sky, like nature of mind, it's available to you always and everywhere. You can return to this state at any time. Now let's take a few deep breaths together, inhaling and exhaling fully and completely. And then very slowly begin to bring some motion into your wrists, ankles, fingers and toes. You might even wish to reach the arms overhead. Allow yourselves to stretch as you bring life back into the physical body. And we'll conclude our meditation by joining our hands together in prayer and saying namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm going to close the recording here, but then those who want to stay on, please do so.